Have you ever felt a presence when you're all alone? A shadow in the corner of your eye, a whisper in an empty room. For many, these are just tricks of the mind. But for Gaurav Tiwari, they were a lifelong calling. This is the story of India's most famous paranormal investigator, a man who chased ghosts for a living and whose own death became the greatest mystery he ever left behind. Gaurav wasn't always a ghost hunter. He started out as a commercial pilot, a man of science and logic, flying high above the clouds. But a strange experience in an allegedly haunted house in Florida changed everything. He described feeling an unseen force pulling him, a sensation so powerful it defied all rational explanation. This single event ignited a spark, a burning curiosity to understand the world that exists just beyond our senses. He hung up his pilot's uniform and dove headfirst into the world of the paranormal. He trained extensively, becoming a certified leading paranormal investigator in the United States. He learned to use EMF meters, EVPs, and thermal camera stools, not to capture ghosts, but to document unexplained phenomena. He wanted to bring a scientific approach to a field often dismissed as superstition. He believed that if something couldn't be explained by science, it didn't mean it wasn't real. It just meant our science wasn't advanced enough yet. In 2009, he returned to India and founded the Indian Paranormal Society. His mission was clear: to help people who were troubled by supernatural occurrences and to demystify the paranormal. At the time, this was groundbreaking. India has a rich history of folklore and ghost stories, but Gaurav was one of the first to investigate them with modern equipment and a rational mindset. He wasn't there to sensationalize. He was there to find answers. The Indian Paranormal Society quickly became a beacon for those who had nowhere else to turn. People from all corners of the country would call, telling stories of shadowy figures, objects moving on their own, and disembodied voices. Gaurav and his team would travel to these locations, setting up their gear and spending long, patient nights waiting in the dark. They investigated over 6,000 cases, from humble village homes to ancient forts steeped in legend. Gaurav became a familiar face on television, starring in popular shows where he and his team explored India's most haunted locations. He guided viewers through crumbling palaces and eerie graveyards, explaining his methods with a calm and reassuring demeanor. He wasn't the stereotypical, jumpy ghost hunter. He was composed, analytical, and deeply empathetic to the people he was helping. He would often say that in 99% of cases, there was a logical, scientific explanation. But it was that 1% of true, unexplainable phenomena that kept him going. He wanted to bridge the gap between the living and the dead, not for fame, but for understanding. His work took him to Bangar Fort in Rajasthan, a place so notoriously haunted that entry is forbidden after sunset. He spent a night there, documenting strange fluctuations in energy and capturing electronic voice phenomena, or EVPs, recordings of what some believe are the voices of spirits. He explored the abandoned Caldera village, where an entire community is said to have vanished overnight centuries ago. Through it all, Gaurav remained the skeptic's investigator, always looking for a rational cause before ever considering a paranormal one. Then, on July 7th, 2016, the unthinkable happened. Gaurav Tiwari, just 32 years old, was found unconscious in the bathroom of his Delhi home. He was rushed to the hospital, but was declared dead on arrival. The initial police report stated the cause of death was asphyxia from hanging. It seemed like a straightforward, though tragic, case. But for those who knew Gaurav and his work, nothing about it was simple. The first crack in the official story was the mark found on his neck. It was a teen dark line, but strangely, there was nothing in the bathroom that could have made such a mark. There were no signs of a struggle, and the doors were not locked from the inside. His family was adamant that he was not the kind of person who would take his own life. He had just gotten married. He was at the peak of his career, and he was passionate about his future projects. He had everything to live for. His father told the media that just a month earlier, Gaurav had confided in his wife about a negative force that was bothering him. He felt it was pulling him, trying to control him. He was trying to fight it off, but he admitted it was difficult. Was this the confession of a man battling a literal demon? Or was it a metaphor for a deep, internal struggle? The line between the paranormal and the psychological began to blur. The police investigation concluded that he had died by suicide, citing stress and marital discord. But this explanation never sat right with his followers, his family, or his colleagues. How could a man who spent his life demystifying fear and helping others succumb to it in such a final way? The details just didn't add up. Why was the bathroom door open? Where was the object he supposedly used? And what about that mysterious dark line on his neck? Theories began to spiral. The paranormal community was convinced that a malevolent entity, perhaps one he encountered during an investigation, had finally latched onto him and caused his death. They pointed to his last Facebook post, written just hours before he died, which quoted, "One becomes enlightened when he has no problems, when he has no desires, when he is not in any kind of a mess." Was this a cryptic goodbye, or a philosophical musing from a man at peace? Others suggested a more earthly explanation. Could he have uncovered something dangerous during one of his investigations? Perhaps he stumbled upon a criminal activity, masked as a haunting, and was silenced. This theory painted Gaurav not just as a paranormal investigator, but as a truth seeker who paid the ultimate price. Then there was the possibility that the immense pressure of his work led to a mental health crisis. Constantly immersing oneself in dark, negative environments and listening to harrowing stories could take a severe toll on anyone's psyche. Perhaps the negative force he spoke of was a metaphor for a deep depression he was hiding from the world. It is a sad reality that even those who help others often struggle to seek help for themselves. To this day, the death of Gaurav Tiwari remains an unsolved mystery. Was it a vengeful spirit, a hidden human enemy, or the tragic result of a silent, internal battle? We may never know for sure. What we do know is that Gaurav Tiwari opened a door for countless people. He made it acceptable to talk about the unexplained, to question the boundaries of our reality. He brought science to superstition and compassion to fear. His legacy is unjust in the thousands of cases he investigated or the TV shows he starred in. His true legacy is in the minds he opened. He taught us that it's okay to be curious, to look into the darkness, but also to be cautious. He showed us that the greatest mysteries often lie not in haunted houses, but within the complexities of the human mind and spirit. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, Gaurav's story is a compelling reminder that there are things in this world we do not yet understand. And perhaps some mysteries are not meant to be solved, but to make us question, to make us wonder, and to remind us of the thin veil that separates our world from the one that lies just beyond. Gaurav Tiwari spent his life trying to peer behind that veil. In the end, he became a part of the mystery himself, leaving us with one final, haunting question mark. If you or someone you know is struggling, please remember that help is available. You can reach out to crisis hotlines and mental health professionals who are there to listen and support you. You are not alone. Thanks for watching. If you found this story compelling, please like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the world's greatest mysteries.